Giles, you've had a number of outgoings and a number of ingoing players. Take us through it.
Well, we've not actually lost or said goodbye to that many players. Obviously, Tom Eaton's gone to Stockport, Paul Mellier's gone to Preston, and Elliot Miller-Mills has gone to Caldy. All right, there have been one or two other players who have drifted away, but those are probably the three ones that the supporters would be most aware of, and we wish them well. We've had a number of players join us. We had Joe Durnley come from Glossop, who's a young prop. We've got Tom Poole, who's also a prop. They both come from Glossop and Crewe and Nantwich, and they've done well in pre-season. We've got a lad called Nico Nyamba join us, who's a hooker, and I've been particularly impressed with him. He had a period of time out due to an injury. He's moved to the area because of work. He's got a lot of experience in the national leagues with Bladen and Harrogate. So he's gone well in pre-season, we're pleased with him. Brendan Berry's come back after a couple of years overseas. And we've also got Jake Percival, who's joined us from Sandbach, and he's gone very well in pre-season. We're particularly impressed with him. So that's the front row. Chris Townsend has made a welcome return to the club, as has Tom Davenport. Those people whose memories go 3 or 4 years back will remember them as being first team stalwarts. It's nice to welcome them back to the club. Both of them live in the area. Tom Davenport's just had a baby, and it's great that they've decided to come back to what I guess is their home club, and they've gone well for us as well. We're very lucky that Tom Morton's decided to join us from South Sharks. He obviously has been on loan with us for the last couple of seasons, but he's now become a permanent fixture. A lad called James Hampson joined us, who I know from my time at Manchester Grammar School. He's been at Leeds Met, I think he's been at Leeds University. He's gone very well for us. He's a sort of outside back. Rodri Mayer's come back from loan at Preston Grasshoppers. We've had a number of other lads who've been on trial with us. A chap called Ryan Wilson, who's gone pretty well. He's a winger. Goodness me, inevitably I'll have missed somebody off the list, but I think that's a fairly comprehensive overview of where we're up to. The reality is that we talk consistently about the importance of squad depth. As we sit here now, we've actually got 10 players who are either injured or unavailable for selection this weekend against Caldy. We work on the premise that in a Premiership you have 15% of your squad injured or unavailable at any one time. So as you filter down, that obviously escalates a little bit. So we're expecting to be about sort of 18 to 20% of our squad will be injured or unavailable. Availability is the challenging one because we're not full time, but I think we manage it fairly well. I think we've certainly managed it pretty well in pre-season.
You've also had a number of pre-season games. Obviously, did the round robin, which we spoke after, but you've recently had the Derby game as well.
Yeah.
How have your new signings gone? How have those games gone in terms of building up to game one against Wharfdale?
Well, I think I said to you, we deliberately structure our pre-season so that it's fairly short and intense. So the squad, that'd be the guys involved with the Blues, the guys involved with the Lions, the second 15, everyone's had plenty of opportunities. So we played Buxton last week. We then played Derby, as you said, on Saturday, and then we played Wilmslow on Tuesday of this week. So it's been a great opportunity for me to see everybody under live fire and get a good feeling of where we're up to. A lot of people have stood up. I've had some really good conversations this week with guys who not just knew, but guys who've been here a while about feedback and where they need to probably improve. As a group, we've taken some big steps. I think we've still got a number of areas we need to tighten up on. The second half against Derby was excellent. 44 points in 40 minutes is good going, but the first half we were a little bit off colour. I think credit to Derby that they really took it to us. We probably didn't manage that as well as we could do, and that's something that we've got to look at, particularly going into Caldy this weekend. It is a Cheshire Cup semi-final. We are using it as something of a pre-season game as well, final pre-season game, but it's the toughest one of the lot. And then, as you say, we go into game one against Wharfdale a week on Saturday, and there's certain things that if they go well on Saturday against Caldy, then there'll be other things we'll look at for the Wharfdale game, but there's probably one or two things we need to tighten up on, certainly from an attacking point of view. Defensively, I think we've been reasonably solid. We're just still getting used to our system. That's all.
Joe, you're a new signing to Macclesfield. You come from Glossop.
Yep.
You excited to be here?
Yeah, it's great. It's finally good to get started with them all, and there's obviously a massive jump up in level, but yeah.
Obviously, you say it's jump up in level, but you're up for the challenge, I take it.
Yeah, I feel like I am. Obviously, like I'm a big lad, so I feel like I can do it. Yeah.
Tom, you're back, and in the twilight of your career, raring to go.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't wait to get back. It's going to be probably the third debut that I have for Macclesfield now. Having had the first one back at 14 years ago. So yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Nico, you've got some experience with Blaydon, you've got some experience with Hull and a couple of other clubs in the North East. You happy to join Macclesfield?
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to join Macclesfield to give me an opportunity to come back and play National 2 and hopefully push for to play back in National 1 again. So yeah, should be looking forward to it.
James, one of our new signings to Macclesfield. You're going to bolster that back three. Are you excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's the first time I'm playing club rugby. So I've been uni for the last 3 years, so I'm looking forward to the new season.
Ryan, welcome to Macclesfield Rugby Club. You are a flying winger and raring to go.
Yeah, I am. Just trying to chip away at pre-season. It's always a hard part of the year, and I'm just hoping I can put in the work.
There's no getting away from the fact that Mac have been up and down last couple of years to Nat 1 and back down to Nat 2. How much does that help you in a positive sense? As in, do you learn more from being relegated in a tougher league than you would if you were just hovering in mid-table? I saw a phrase earlier in the week which just said something to the effect of, "I never lose, I only win or learn."
I think it's a very good quote. If I go back to when we won National 2 last, the key moment for us was probably the loss against Caldy just after first game back after Christmas, because I'd allowed certain things to creep in, bad habits to creep into how we were playing because we could get away with it. And in the review of that game, you could see those bad habits, and we had to get rid of them, and we went on and played some fantastic rugby. At the end of the season, obviously won the league and got promoted. I think what last season taught us is the value of mentality, the right mentality across the whole group. And I include the management and coaching staff within that. I think we have been under a fair bit of pressure, self-inflicted pressure over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Much of that probably driven by me. And I think we knew. The reality is that we were conceding, I think, 48 points a game, something like that. And so we knew we needed to make some changes in terms of how we defend. And it's always a new start. Every season, no matter what league you're in, every year is a new start. Pre-seasons, it's great because you get out there and you get a chance to put some new things in place. You get to tighten up on a few things, and this has been the 4th pre-season that I have run here, and it's taken 4 pre-seasons to get us able to do certain things in both attack and defence, but we now do them very, very, very well. It's now about making sure that they become habitual, but also accepting that there are certain things that they're going to take some time to get in place. And those are things that we've been working on last year and even the year before.
Tom, you're coming from Crewe and Nantwich. You're going to bolster that front row. Are you excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. Really, new club, new place, new pitch, new lads. Looking forward to it.
A new challenge as well, going up a little bit. You've obviously played in the Cheshire 20s, but this will be a step up.
Yeah, well, it's a 2-league step up from Crewe first team. Taking on, trying my best, and it's all I can ask.
You've had a couple of run-outs already in the pre-season friendlies. How have they gone?
Well, yeah. First game we did that round robin tournament. Yeah, it went well. Yeah. Had a few carries and line-outs and scrums are getting there. So.
And it's been a good learning curve for it with some of these older guys.
Yeah, definitely. There's some top guys out here, so it's good to learn from them. Yeah.
But a lot of the lads getting on well with the boys.
Yeah, they're a good bunch of lads. Good bunch of lads.
And obviously, you had your first hit out the other day. Was that good to get that off your chest?
Yeah, just good to get the gears rolling again. You know, and yeah, it was a good run out. Lots to learn from, but yeah.
You've got some decent credentials, though. You obviously played for the north of England a few years ago, and for Lancashire. So you know that's going to be good experience to take into men's rugby.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whilst I was doing all that, Giles was actually my coach at school, so I've enjoyed training under him before and playing under him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next year.
And obviously, like your T-shirt suggests, you've been away at Leeds and playing in the books. Was that so?
Yeah, I actually missed a bit of last season because I broke my hand, but the first 2 years while I was there, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good playing, good competition, particularly like likes of Leeds Beckett in the league as well.
Obviously, you've got the great Sam Moss to get past, and also Brendan Berry's coming back to the club. So there's competition there for the hookers. Is that something you relish?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's still you missed a few of the boys out. There's some younger boys who during the training sessions that that I've been involved in so far, I've been pushing and looking really good. So I think competition's healthy. It just keeps everybody on their toes. At the same time, it's a 30-league game. Injuries happen, and it's important for the club to have players that can step.
How's it gone so far in pre-season? Obviously, you're working with the likes of Tom Mantell and Billy Robinson, and obviously Marshall Gard. How helpful has that been?
Yeah, it's been really good. The first couple of weeks, I injured my ankle, so that's been a bit of a pain with that. Been training now a few weeks. Really enjoyed it. Really hard, but I really enjoyed it at the same time. Yeah.
And just going back to the players you brought in briefly, you've obviously brought in a few young players. Is that part of the evolution of what we were just talking about? Coming on, is not living on last year. Obviously, starting again, going again, bringing in some fresh young blood.
Well, you have to think about the future of the club, and there are some players in the squad who, by their own admission, are not going to play National 1, National 2 rugby for forever. That's the reality, and nor should we ask them to. So it's important that I think a lot of coaching is very in the moment, as it should be, but you have to look further down the line. So whilst we are focusing on Wharfdale, I'm also focusing on 4 weeks, 8 weeks, Christmas and beyond, and you have to think longer term than that about, we need to start bringing some young players in and start bringing them on and developing them, and then the challenge becomes keeping them, of course, once you've invested the time in them. But ultimately, you need some young blood because you want to push some of the guys that are perhaps a little bit settled, but you also need to bring guys in so that eventually there will be certain key guys who've been key for us who will turn around and say, look, I'm hanging my boots up. And if we haven't started to bring some players through already, then we could be in a little bit of bother.
Last year you had a slightly different season to the rest of us. You had a second place finish with Sale.
Yeah.
But that was exciting, and that is obviously going to give us a lot of a boost in a positive sense to this season coming up.
Yeah, at Sale we had a good year last year. Shame not to quite get over the line in the playoff, but good experience to bring in, and I know that the squad is young, so I'm definitely pulling up that average age, but hopefully can bring some of that big game experience to help out everyone, and hopefully we can do something special this year.
Have you enjoyed bedding in so far? The lads been all right?
Yeah, it's you mentioned earlier I've played for a couple of clubs, so it's getting to know a new bunch of boys is it's a challenge to start with, but the boys have been welcomed so far since I've been down here.
Anyone you like or dislike? Is it hard to get a word in while Dave Marwick's around?
I don't know. I wouldn't say there's anyone that I dislike. No one's done any cheap shots to me yet. To be honest, generally as a whole, everybody's been nice to me. Made me welcome and feel welcome to the club. So yeah, can't complain.
And obviously you got stuck into pre-season quite early, so has that been a good test for you?
It's been good. It's been hard, a lot of running. Again, good getting back into it, but I've really enjoyed it.
There's obviously a few other speedy lads around the wing and full-back area, but nice to have a bit of competition.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, test myself in pre-season in the games this weekend and next, and throughout training the last few weeks it's good to get back into the competition.
Obviously there's a few young lads joined, so that's probably quite helpful, but have you got the measure of the lads yet? Who's alright, who's not?
Yeah, they're all a good bunch of lads, to be fair. Trying to work out my rivals and who we've got to beat, so
but
first team.
But a good bit of competition there, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. The likes of Billy and that. Playing tight head like myself, so it's good competition.
How was pre-season treated you? Do you feel like it was a strong learning curve, or not too far out of your comfort zone?
Well, I've been on and off rugby for a little bit, so it's all right. But just trying to get back into it. Having been necessary last course, so I think this is an appropriate level for me to return to.
When you do come down from National 1 and you start again in National 2, how much is your style of play affected? Is that determined by the level of confidence you see within the group, or is it totally clean slate, let's go again?
No, I don't think so. We sat down when we looked at the season, and we sat with their senior players group, and I asked their opinion as to anything that we needed to alter from an attacking point of view. Certainly, we brought in a new framework last year that you saw some of the rugby that we played, and I think it went pretty well. It was fairly embedded by the end of the season, and everybody unanimously said, look, we're happy with it, it's good, it works for us, let's carry on doing it. So once you've got that framework in place, it's about adding small bits in and making slight tweaks and developing player understanding, so that, I've already used the word habitual, but it becomes habit, so that when they're under pressure they're not having to think, where should I be or what should I do, it just happens instinctively. And I think that was probably a challenge last year that we didn't quite get right, because Warren Gatland said that the moment you have to think about doing something in a game, you lose your physicality, and you can't afford, it's a physical game, you can't afford to lose that. I think we'll be in a much better place in that sense this year, because it's year 2 of doing a certain framework. So it's a clean slate in the sense that there are certain new themes that we're going to bring in, but the framework will continue to underpin what we do. And it's an opportunity to give a bit more license to some of the players, now that they understand what's being asked of them. The likes of Ryan Parkinson, Lewis Barker, they've really taken quite a bit of ownership in what we do and how we do it. And Tom Morton's obviously come straight out of Sale Sharks, and he's got some good ideas as well, so we're involving him. And it's just being prepared to say, look, what do you think? And giving them an opportunity to have a debate. They might not always get through what they want, but you've got to be able to filter it.
We've been asking all the new signings, is there anything we should know about you on or off the field, but just that everybody knows you here, so...
Yeah, a lot of people do know me. No real sort of surprises. I guess work for Twining, so I do love a bit of tea. So I'll be bringing some samples down for the lads in due course.
Brilliant, Tom. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Matt.
So obviously you've got some experience in National 2, and you're going to bring that into a side that's just come down from National 1. Do you think that's going to help you and the side build towards the National 2 title, or push a highway up towards it?
Yeah, I mean, I think any club coming down from National 1, obviously the goal is to go back into National 1. From what I understand, they kept a good core of the squad. hearing from the boys talking about it last season, they say a lot of the games were quite close. It was a couple of points here or there, and a bit of lapse of concentration. So I think there's very very good reason to be optimistic to hopefully try and be towards the top coming into the season.
Sorry, one more question I should ask. With you being a flying winger, have we established, has there been a race to see who's the quickest yet?
I don't know. Well, I think there's been a few bits of conditioning where I've managed to stay in front, but I don't know, it's a long season, so hopefully I'll be able to hold the lead.
Obviously, this is a squad that's come down from National 1 and it's got a few new younger faces in it. Do you think that squad has, adding those younger people to the squad has freshened it up a bit,
Yeah, I think so. I reckon it'll boost the squad, fitness and energy levels, go straight back up and hopefully back into National 1.
Anything you should tell us about, Tom? Anything we should be looking for on the pitch or hearing about off the pitch?
I'll just let the playing do the talking.
And obviously there's a lot of new lads to meet, but have you got the measure of them? Who's the big, the gobby ones and who's all right?
I'm working it out. I'm still twigging, to be honest. But I know, I'm sure in the next couple of weeks I'll know who's here. Have a good day, mate.
Is there anything we should know about you? Anything on the pitch or off the pitch we should listen out for or watch for?
Nothing that springs to mind immediately.
Nothing that can be aired. Fair enough. Thank you, James. Cheers.
No worries, mate.
And we've been asking the new guys just if there's anything we should know about you. Is there anything on or off the field that we're going to hear about?
Been told on the right, but just start out with again.
Is that physicality or is that drinking?
Drinking, yeah.
Right. Okay. And one last thing, you've got your arm in the sling right now. Hopefully, it won't be too long before we see you in action, though.
Yeah, well, he said a couple of weeks, Ross. So hopefully, I count in a couple of weeks. That's normal.
All right, welcome to Mac and all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Okay, one more question. What have you made of the style of play and the coaching so far? Is that positive?
Yeah, I think for as a new player coming into the team, a lot of the focus during pre-season has been, for kind of looking at getting the ball in hand as early as possible, looking at going through the setups. So as a new player, it's been good for me to kind of get a grips to it. Also, we've had the fitness side of things as well. So I think from a coaching point of view, I'm happy. I feel that I know what's happening when we're going through line-outs, when we're going through open play, open face play. So yeah.
Good. And last question, just like what you're looking for from the season, just to play as much first team as you can?
Yeah, I think any player in the club, regardless of first, seconds or third, is to play as much first team rugby as possible. And just develop as a player, really.
Obviously, I don't want to go on about your age too much, but at this stage of your career, you're just looking to enjoy the final couple of years and be a leader in the squad.
Yeah, I've been saying it the last year for 3 or 4 years now. So I'll just keep taking it year at a time, seeing how the body holds up, and just enjoy it. Like I said, just enjoy every moment that I get on the pitch. However long that's going to be, I've got no idea.
Obviously, fans will want to know about your expectations for the season. I know in the past you said you didn't want to put like a target or anything out there, but when you look at Sale FC, you've done a lot of business this year. Sedge have got a new coach. Chester are always in and around it. Is that a way of saying it's a very open league, or is it a super tough league?
Well, the challenge that you face in National 2 North is very different to the challenge that you face in National 1 on a number of different levels. It's great. Getting relegated is horrible. It's great to be back in National 2 in the sense that we're going to be playing against a lot of local rivals, and you get some good derbies and some good atmospheres, and we've got a lot of good friends in this league in terms of players and coaches and that sort of thing. So it's exciting. It will be tough. Of course, it will be tough. I think there's probably 9 teams that could win it this year. I think Sale FC are probably justifiable favourites, having been in the playoff last season and getting pipped. We're not. We're just looking at Wharfdale.